Well, I seriously doubt that our next speaker needs an introduction to this august gathering. Yet, as protocol demands it, here goes. He is a renowned next level leadership expert and management consultant and author with more than 2 decades of leadership experience with major multinational companies around the world. And most likely, the dreamboat of many. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Manoj Vasudevan.
Welcome. So, how are you feeling today? How is your conference going? So, I invite you to type it in the chat box. How are you feeling today and how your conference is doing according to you? I believe the chat is enabled. So, I have the chat on my right. All right, fantastic. So great stuff coming along. You've been amazing. What should we say? Exciting. Great, fantastic, guys. When I was in my primary school, my history teacher told me this. She said, there are 2 time periods in history. It is called BC and AD. BC stands for before Christ. What does AD stand for? Okay, some of these members from the DTech committee is looking at me and saying, AD means after DTech. All right, it means, that's right, Anno Domini. All right, that's right, Naveen gets that answer. But the reason I said that is I believe when our grandchildren learn history, they will learn history a bit differently. They're likely to learn about 2 other time periods, BC and AC, before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. You see, we have to admit that the world has changed in many ways, but many things will remain the same. This has affected the way we work, the way we shop, the way we eat, the way we greet, and the way we meet. We still have hope. So today, in the next 20 minutes, you will pick up 5 principles that will help you to lead yourself in these turbulent times and stay ready for the rebound. The key is stay ready for the rebound. So I repeat, stay ready for the rebound. You see, because the world has gone through several tough times before. World War I, Great Depression, World War II, floods, famines, earthquakes, tsunamis, the dot-com bust, the Asian financial crisis, the 2008 financial crisis, epidemics and pandemics. But as a human race, we have come out of all that. You see, despite our diversity, we have one thing in common. As a human race, we are able to change, we can adapt, we can innovate. We know how to grow. Now, if you look at the entire animal kingdom, there is only one other creature who is like that, who is like us. Do you know which creature is that? Which is similar to us, who can change, adapt, and innovate. I invite you to type in the chat box if you know the answer. Somebody said corona. No, so no, it's not the virus. Some monkeys, no. Dolphin, gorilla, someone said amoeba, mosquito. There's only one other creature that can, that's great. Someone said, right. So the answer is cockroach. Now, do you have cockroaches in your country? If you have cockroaches in your country, type S in your chat box. Let me see. Okay. Oh, everybody has cockroaches. In fact, there are cockroaches everywhere except perhaps in Antarctica. But if you look at Antarctica, there are not many humans as well. So don't worry, the world is not going to end. And don't fear that you're going to be left alone in the world. I can guarantee you that you will never be left alone in this world. There will always be a cockroach with you. All right. So take some comfort in that, from that fact. So here are the 5 principles I wanted to share with you to lead yourself. I know your video screens are all muted. You're not on video. So I'm just going to share with you. And if you want to interact with me, feel free to just type it in the chat box. I'll take a look once in a while. So here are the 5 principles to lead yourselves. And how I'm going to structure it is I'm going to share with you 5 principles. And then for each principles, I'll give you specific actionable tips that you can implement right away. So I thought instead of giving you a lot of theories and stories, especially when I can't see you, it's better to just give you some specific actionable tips that you can use to lead yourself and to have better outcomes for you, your family, your organization. So remember, take a pen and paper and write these down. Write these down. So the first principle is to increase your discipline and reduce your distractions. Increase your discipline and reduce your distractions. Now, do you remember a time when you used to say, oh, I will work on my goals when I have more time? Have you ever done that? Have you ever said that, oh, I will work on my goals when I have more time? Or I will do this when I have more time. Have you ever said that? Yes? So this is that time. This is the God-given time to work on your goals. So if you find that you find still struggling to work on those things you always wanted to do, I think your problem was perhaps not time. Perhaps your problem is a lack of discipline. Yeah, but you are not alone. This is a challenge for many people today. In fact, a lot of the coaches, so a lot of the top leaders I coach, they have always worked in the office, surrounded by people helping them. They're always at the beck and call. They're always people around them. Now, due to this lockdown, they're forced to sit at home and sit alone and work, and they find it very difficult. And I also see some of my other clients who tell me, Manoj, these days my boss keeps calling me throughout the day. Have you faced that problem? Does your boss call you throughout your day too many times, or too often? If your boss doesn't call you, maybe you're the boss. Okay, you're probably the one troubling others so we have to learn to adapt to these new things, and also to get things done, to maximize and utilize that time. So I just want to share with you some tips how you can build more discipline. So number one is to start each day with a to-do list for the next 7 days. So start each day with a to-do list for the next 7 days and focus on that. Stay focused on that. But are you able to stay focused there? No, might get distracted. So the key here is don't watch the news every 3 minutes and look at the latest figures. So this is a distraction that taking valuable time from you. So because all those issues, I know those are important, but there are people in charge of that. The people who are taking care of that. So focus on things that you are in charge of. Focus on things you can control, then you can get more things done. Now here it says, this can be a bit controversial, but I'll say it anyway. I will challenge you to say no to unreasonable requests from people who demand your time. Say more no's. So especially don't say yes when you really want to say no, because that will take away your time. The more no's you will say, the more time you will have. So have the courage to say no when you really want to say no. That can free up a lot of your time. Sometimes you're doing things you should not be doing. That can actually, people might be robbing your time, especially people who do not have any goals or aims. For all good intention, they might be taking away time from what you should be doing. So be watchful of that. But this is not the most powerful thing. The most powerful thing you can do is to automate your day. Automate your day. You see, the smartest leaders I have seen, really successful people, they do not wake up every morning and say, hey, what should I do today? What should I do today? Right? So they actually follow powerful routines. So somebody asked, wouldn't it be considered selfish? So the point is, say no when you want to say no. And because you have important things to do. You can actually look at scheduling another time. So in the middle of work, somebody comes to distract you, you need the courage to say no. To answer the question, Revati, she asked, isn't it inconsiderate to say inhuman? No. It is, if you have no goals, that's fine. But if you're working on your goals, you need to learn how to focus. So the powerful tip is to automate your day. So all the smart leaders, what I've seen is they follow powerful routines. So have you designed your routines, daily routines? Have you? If not, this is something I will strongly recommend that you do, because you need to power up your day with powerful routines. Then you can get more done each day. And once you have those powerful routines, you will have more focus, more energy throughout the day. For example, these days I don't travel. But I work from 7 a.m. to 12 or to 12:30 midnight, many days a week. Of course, I do get my fair share of sleep, and there are ways I do to keep myself rested and work and stay focused. So because you will get more energy and you can get more done when you have power up routines. So would you like to design your power up routines and get more things done each day? Yeah, anybody? This is actually part of a training I do for leadership coaching clients. You can just save the link and sign up for the first course you see. And these are the exact things. So some of the leadership clients I coach, they are leading teams of 25,000 people or more. And they always have people looking at to take their time, right? To share of the time. So if I follow the earlier question, they just don't have enough time to give away to people. So they have to be more creative to become more productive. So guard your time and stay focused on your goal. So principle number one, all the tips I just shared comes under principle number one, is to increase your discipline and reduce your distraction. That takes me to principle number two, which is to choose optimism. Choose optimism. Recently, I met an 84-year-old guy. He's an optimist. He wrote the book Everlasting Optimism, and he's looking forward to life. Now, I was wondering, in the midst of this crisis, where does he get the energy to look forward to life and make plans for the future? So I invited this guy. His name is Lenny Ravitch. I think some of you might have attended this session when I did this session for the WCPS Club Mastermind sessions. I think some of you attended. Remember, we had speakers around the world, and Lenny was sharing. And he was a super hit. And people started sending emails to me saying that, oh, the session was life-changing. Because it completely gave optimism. It really made people feel optimistic and look forward to in life. So here are two key lessons Lenny shared. First is to embrace everlasting optimism. Believe that things are going to get better. Second is to consciously activate your happy hormones like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, etc. So he actually taught us some fun techniques. I wish I could do that with you today, but since you're all muted, it's not going to be practical. But what I can do is I'll be happy to give you access to the recording of the previous session where I shared these. If you're interested, would you be interested in that? Some activities you do to activate your happy hormones, because these techniques help you to stay happy and optimistic. And he does that every single day to power himself up and stay focused and stay optimistic and focus on his big goals. 84-year-old guy, optimistic. So, but what else can you do to be optimistic? Here's an analogy I heard many, many years ago. So imagine this, you're in a jungle. You're in a forest or a jungle, and you see a tiger chasing a deer. So the tiger chases the deer, but after running for a very long time, it couldn't just grab the deer. But the tiger has expended all his energy, and it has no more energy for the day. So the tiger goes hungry that night. But you will never hear in the news that today a tiger committed suicide because it could not catch a deer. It never does that. The tiger wakes up the next day, puts on its stripes, and goes to hunt. That's what I mean by choosing optimism. The drive in you, no matter what hits you, job loss, business loss, bereavement, be that tiger. Don't lose hope. Go for the hunt. Show the world what you are made of. And when you go with that mindset, you're able to get more things done, and you will focus on what you need to be doing, and you embrace the future with everlasting optimism. Of course, you might meet a lot of pessimistic people around you, but the key is to consciously choose optimism and do activities that help you to build and sustain that level of optimism. Another tip I have here is to reframe your situation. For example, if there was no COVID-19, in the past few months, I would have visited at least 25 different cities speaking or coaching. But now I can't. I'm sitting at home. But the way I see this is very different. The way I see this is I am sitting at the comfort of my home, and the whole world is coming into my living room. Because if I travel, I have to queue up, I have to travel long hours, I have to get the visa at the airport, transport, jet lag, lose my energy and time. Now, the moment I finish my keynote, I arrive at home. Amazing, isn't it? Then I move on to my next event. So the point here is Don't complain, reframe. Don't complain, reframe. Look, reframe your situation to your advantage. So that was principle number 2, which is to choose optimism. So I will go to principle number 3, which is to make big plans for the future. So the way I see this situation now is that we are going through a dark tunnel, right? We are going through a dark tunnel and you can't see anything. It's very dark. There are people around you, but you can't see anything. You don't know how long this tunnel is going to be. And you don't know how long you're going to take for you to get to the other end of the tunnel. But the key here, you need to see the direction, and which is of course to move forward. You need to move on with the belief that there is light at the end of the tunnel and have that clear vision of a brighter future. Hold on to that thought. Then don't stay there, come back to the present moment and then work on your goals now. And by the way, this is backed up by psychology, where you really need to have something you need to look forward to, especially if you want to get over turbulent times. So because that will build hope, discipline, and optimism. So have big dreams without a deadline, because honestly, you don't know how long this is going to last. What are the impact of this going to be? So you need to work on something without knowing how long this tunnel is going to be. Most people will not do that. So, and if you do that, you will stand out. That's how you lead yourself, and that's how you stand out from the rest. And so when you create your purpose, you will increase your hope. But for example, I'll tell you this. Of course, I was a shy, reserved introvert, and I was terrified of public speaking. If you remember, I delivered my first speech in my club after visiting my club for almost 3 years. It took me 2.5 years to decide to join the club. Then it took me 8 months to walk those few feet to come in front of the audience, deliver my first speech. So after I delivered my second speech, my mentor came to me and said, Manoj, you can become the world champion of public speaking. I said, what, me? He said, oh, of course you can be the world champion of public speaking. And also he said, there are 3 things you need to do to win the world championship public speaking. So he gave me, but I have this very bad habit. Whenever someone says something nice about me, I will just believe it. So now a person like me who had no goal, suddenly I had a goal. I wanted to become the world champion of public speaking. And having that goal gave me purpose, optimism, focus, and disciplines, because whatever I did was aligned. So I saw whatever I'm doing now is aligned to that distant dream or that goal I had in my mind. And also when I was working to become the world champion, I realized that, hey, if I can be better in this, I can also help other people to become confident. Because when I was going around the world, those days consulting, I saw that many people who are competent, but they're not confident. And just because they're competent, but they're not confident. And just because they're not confident, they're not influential enough, and they do not get what they truly deserve. Have you seen people like that? They're really competent, but they don't get what they truly deserve. And as I always say, competence is important, but confidence is paramount. I repeat, competence is important, but confidence is paramount. Because I looked around the world, I see a lot of competent people do not have confidence on one end. And on the other end, a lot of incompetent people who seem to have all the confidence. And they control our world, they shape our world. And I said, what if I can help competent people become confident? That was my overriding thought. And then finally, when I won the world championship, I was interviewed on several media, including one of your media in College Times, thanks to Rashid. We are also in Gulf. I was in BBC, Business Insider, and many media. I don't know which, I think it's College Times, which asked me, so Manoj, you're the world champion now. What's your next big goal? I said, now I plan to help 20 million people to overcome their fear of public speaking. Of course, it was flashed all over. And then people called me, Manoj, do you know that 20 million is a big number? Do you know that it has 7 zeros? So my phone got triggered by what I said just now. Okay. So people said it's a big number, 7 zeros. But with that goal in mind, when I was traveling the world, whenever I was invited to speak, when I was traveling the world, I did several free public speaking masterclass in every city I traveled to, and also brought people on stage and started coaching them live. People all say, why don't you do this? Why do you travel? Why don't you just record an online program and give it use it, do this online. But the problem was I was not comfortable being on camera. I can speak to 20,000 people, no problem, but I was not comfortable being on camera. So I had to work to overcome being comfortable on camera. So I finally managed to record the online course and gave it away for free and forgot all about it. So it was online, people are logging. I didn't really looked at it. Then recently something happened. Recently I was in a room with a COVID-19, it was a small room with a COVID-19 patient for about 3 hours. So the government found out and I received a government order for self-isolation quarantine. So I was not permitted to leave my room for 14 days. That means all appointments canceled, everything canceled. I was kind of imprisoned in my room with the government officials monitoring me 3 times a day. And so that time I've also got time to reflect and think about my big goals. What's my goal? What I've been doing, what I could do better. Then I thought about, hey, what happened to my mission 20 million? I don't know. So I did some check and I realized that every week, 500 people go through that online course and they have been posting comments below my videos. So I went in to read their comments and realized that people from 51 countries have benefited from that foundation course. Then I said, wow. Then I said, oh, maybe that's also a wake-up call for me that I should do a lot more. So if you know someone with a fear of public speaking, you can send them to www.nervoustofabulous.com, nervoustofabulous.com. Okay. So the point here is not about me, it's about you. I did based on what my competencies are, and I tried to do, and that gets me every day in the morning among the various other things I do. The point here is this: what are your big goals? What are your big plans? What can you envision? You see, if you want to achieve anything, you need to see the unbelievable, or you need to believe in the unbelievable. So you need to hold that vision right in front of you so that it's real for you. Only then you will work towards it. So my question, or rather challenge for you, think about what are your big goals. It doesn't have to be big. It's not to impress anyone. It's just for something for you to work towards and get things done. Okay, something for you to work towards. So principle number 3 to leading yourself in turbulent times is to make big plans for the future. Now, principle number 4, I believe during this time, the question to ask is not, how can I survive? So the question is not, how can I survive? The question to ask is, how can I serve? How can I serve? Because what I have learned is that the best exercise for the heart is when you bend down to lift someone up. So you bend down to lift someone up. Then you forget all your worries. So you focus. So this is what worked for me. So I'm sharing with you. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but all the people I've coached, I've tell them when they call me, Manoj, I'm depressed, I feel sad. I said, go help someone. Then you feel good about yourself. And have you ever noticed that when you help someone, you feel good about yourself? You feel your self-worth goes up. Yeah, Fatima says that. And I also realize this is at the root of effective leadership. Because when you ask, how can I serve? You're essentially asking, what problems can I solve? And that's what leaders are there for. And I honestly believe if you reflect deeply, I'm 100% certain that you'll feel several things that you have that you can use to help other people. So here is an activity for you. List down all your competencies, all your experiences, all the expertise you had accumulated over the years, and see which of that is relevant today. How can you use those competencies to serve the marketplace? I'm not saying you do this for free. I'm just saying, looking at your competencies, your expertise, your experience, see what is valuable to the marketplace. There is a famous guy by the name Jim Rohn. Anybody have heard about Jim Rohn? I'm very curious to know. So if you have heard about Jim Rohn, yes, Jim Rohn is great. Jim Rohn actually is a master of many masters. In fact, he is the coach for Tony Robbins. When Tony Robbins was a nobody, Jim Rohn held his hand to become who Tony Robbins is. And if you do not know Tony Robbins, he's a very highly successful speaker and coach. So Jim Rohn has a saying, I may be quoting him a bit incorrectly, but generally it's correct. I mean, it's in the vicinity of the actual thing he said. He said, Your rewards, what you get, your rewards are in direct correlation. Your rewards are in direct correlation to your ability to bring value to the marketplace. So the question I ask you is, what is the value you're bringing to the marketplace? If your value you bring is same as everybody else can give, there is no edge. If you can give immense value to the marketplace, you stand out. So what he says is, the more value you bring, the more rewards you deserve, and you're more likely to receive. Okay. So the whole point is, look at what you have and see how we can serve, and see how we can add value to the marketplace, and look at what problems you can solve. Because the more value you bring, the more rewards you deserve and more likely to receive. And also, it's very important to look at, not to stay employed, to be employable if you're in employment. So not just to have a job, also to stay relevant. Look at the skills you need to enhance to stay relevant. What can you upskill yourself? I know most of you in this call are more interested in becoming a better public speaker. Of course, I am also the world champion of public speaking. But let me tell you this honestly, I do not think that's what's most important. Of course, you can have personal goals and work towards your goal. The point is, do not confuse the process. Do not confuse the process for the ultimate goal of becoming a better leader. Because leadership skills are going to be in demand all the time. So stay focused on becoming a better leader. Of course, all these things are good. But I always say, in my experience, coaching leaders, teaching, and also writing books on leadership like The Mousetrap Way, when I did a lot of research and also took feedback from my readers, what I realized is there are 5 core skills you need to master. And you heard me saying this before, but I also repeat because it's so important. There are 5 core skills you need to master. And if you do not master these 5 core skills, it doesn't matter what your qualifications are. It doesn't matter how many ribbons you have collected or how many certificates you have accumulated. If you do not master these 5 core skills, I believe that you will always be performing under your true potential. So the 5 core skills are an ability to connect, an ability to communicate, an ability to network, build a network of relationships so that you get the right help when you need it the most. I always say network without drinking, bragging, or golfing. There are strategies behind it. So ability to connect, ability to communicate, ability to network, ability to lead. How do you get other people to work on your goals? How do you delegate your work? How do you multiply yourself? How do you work on bigger tasks and projects? And the ability to influence. You got that? If you want me to repeat, I can quickly repeat. An ability to connect, to communicate, to network, to lead, and to influence. And when you master these 5 core skills, you will become unstoppable because you can form teams, you get the right help, you can get smart people to work for you, you can inspire them to work on your vision, your goals, your purpose. So the 5 core skills is a force multiplier. So I invite you to reflect on your competencies and wonder, how can you serve? Not how can I survive? How can I serve? How can you take the lead? How can you be the captain of your life and be the hope for others? Now, going to principle number 5, and the last and final principle I have time to share today is, don't think it through, talk it through. Don't think it through, talk it through. This is something I learned from someone. During a recent mastermind session with professional speakers from around the world, we had a guest speaker. His name is Bernie Harnish. He advises large companies on how to scale up their business. I never heard about this guy before, but I found he's a smart guy, great wisdom, and he said few things amazing. One of the things he said is that this is a situation that is fast changing. This is ever changing, right? So you probably do not have clarity of how this is evolving. So when you're planning to do something new, don't think in your head and make decisions on your own. So you don't think it through, you talk it through. You talk to people, you brainstorm, there's some other concept called role storm, and you ask for help. One way I found out is you can be part of mastermind groups. So this group, I never heard about this guy. If I was not part of that professional speakers mastermind, I would have never known about this, right? So now I realize, and many people tell me these masterminds are the key. Because I also meet a lot of people who say, oh, Manoj, I'm going to leave my job and start a business, or I'm going to change my career. And sometimes they do this in a rush without having the required mind shifts or deliberation. I'm not saying you can't be successful. You can still be successful, but don't think it through, talk it through. Talk to people who can help you, ask for help, leverage your mastermind group. You can choose to join an existing mastermind, or you can come together to form your own mastermind. Like even this session you're having here is actually a mastermind session. We are sharing what we all know to helping each other. But if you can do it on a regular basis on the specific things you need to do. For example, I consider myself doing a lot of things, but I'm also part of 3 mastermind groups, and it takes some effort to be there and also investment to be there. But that helps me a lot. I am part of the Professional Speakers Mastermind, the WCPS Club Global Mastermind. I know some of you in this call today are members there. So WCPS Club is where we bring speakers, speech contestants from around the world, and we give them a global stage to test their speeches, get expert feedback, and help them make their speeches universal. The point is to help them to make their speeches connect with anyone, anywhere in the world. We actually say we bring a global audience to your home, right? So it takes time, but it's amazing. It's a great experience. I also run a leadership mastermind where I bring together executives, employees, entrepreneurs to coach them on leadership, share ideas, discuss on their leadership challenges, propose solutions. If you're interested, you can apply to join. There is a benchmark to join, but the key is either you join existing mastermind or form your own mastermind. Don't think it through, talk it through. Whatever you do, always find ways to lead yourself in these turbulent times. Don't live in isolation, right? Because asking help is not a crime. Asking for help is not a crime. You have to be vulnerable, then more people are willing to help. Actually, 2 of the books I'm reading, I forgot the name. One of the books talks about a lady. She actually tells about how her life changed when she started asking for help. I think her name is Amanda Palmer. Anybody knows her? Amanda, I think Art of Asking. The book name is Art of Asking. We don't probably have time for Q&A, but if you have a Q&A, if you want to ask me a question, I'm happy to set up a separate Q&A session. For those of you registered here, what I can do is, I will just arrange some time so that once you register, I have your contact details so I can send you an email when I run the next Q&As. All right. So to recap, here are the 5 principles once again. Increase your discipline, reduce your distraction. Increase your discipline, reduce your distraction. Choose optimism. That's principle number 2. Choose optimism. Principle number 3, make big plans for the future, something you can look forward to and that motivates you to act every day. Principle number 4 is don't ask, how can I survive? Ask, how can I serve? Principle number 5, don't think it through, talk it through. Join masterminds, ask for help. So my friends from around the world, no matter how bad it looks, we will eventually rebound. We as a human race have always done it, and we will do this again. So look at the bright side of life. Look up from your worries. Look up, look around, look forward, and stay ready for the rebound. Over to you.